Alright, here we are. I assume you probably didn't watch my last Requiem video, but while doing the speedrun no healing, I did kind of realize that I really want to try to beat this game with, well, only the Requiem. Now, there are a few ground rules before I begin. The biggest ones are that there are, from memory, there are 3 sections where I just can't use the Requiem. I'm trying to think in my head. I know the sniper one, where the problem is that Leon doesn't have the Requiem. Then there's the motorbike chase, where, you know, we're forced to use the, like, handgun SMG. And I think there's one more, though I can't really get it in my head. So it's Resident Evil 9, but the only gun I can use is the Requiem. I will use the hatchets and grenades and throwables, all of that stuff, just no other guns, unless absolutely forced to. So, yeah, let's play it. I'm also going in completely blind to Insanity, so this may be like a really, really bad idea. We'll see, we'll see. So, like past me stated, the only gun that I'm allowed to use is the Requiem. I'll allow myself to use the hatchet, the knives and throwables, just to make the game even theoretically possible to beat in the first place. There are also the 3 sections where I am forced to use guns, and in those cases there isn't anything I can do about that. Now, with that out of the way, let's begin. Hey, sir! Oh, wait, actually... Oh. I mean, I've never... The run doesn't really start until I get to the care center, since I can just run past all enemies as Leon in Renwood. Now, it is important to talk about how RE9 treats post first-time playthroughs. All the charms and guns you collected the first time are all available to purchase from the weapon box, which now appears earlier in the game as well for Leon. And Grace's charms appear immediately in the item box. I will not be using any special content weapons or bonuses, such as more blood in the blood collector or the 3rd tier of weapon upgrades. I will, however, max out my body armor to level 3, just because that is exclusive to the Insanity difficulty and not a part of the special content shop. Oh crap, whoa. Shit. Oh my god. Not too bad. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. Okay, yeah, no, I'm really good, and now I'm gonna. Oh!
Let's make this quick.
Yeah, screw you. Got things to do and places to be. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Wow, okay. Let's see what else is in store. I mean, this section is gonna be just the same, so you know. Speed run away. Run away. Oh, loud. Oh yeah, and I do believe that, like, looking kind of diagonally and holding both W and the corresponding side key will move. You will move just a bit faster. But that is good to keep in mind. I guess I'll just... I mean, I am gonna reload, so... Whoa! Oh, wow! I mean, it has to be, because they're holding the chainsaw, right? Now, here we get to the first forced combat section of the game as Leon. attacked the doctor with the chainsaw and about 10 zombies separated into 2 waves. Having no idea how much Requiem ammo I could use, I did try to beat this encounter melee only for about 30 minutes. I tried to use the small stairs as a way to hit the zombies while they were jumping down, but it wasn't consistent enough to reliably work. Unfortunately, during my attempts, I did realize something that makes this encounter a lot more annoying. When an enemy picks up the chainsaw, they do not only become more dangerous, but also transform into a mini-boss of sort. Even being able to tank an unfocused Requiem shot to the head and still going, meaning that they have about double HP of all other zombies. After learning this, I came up with a strategy that I felt would be the most likely to succeed. I would run back and charge up a shot with the Requiem and instantly kill the doctor. I would then run up and attack the nurse while the chainsaw spins around wildly on the ground to make sure that she doesn't run up and grab it. After taking her out, I would run up to the chainsaw and pray that I had enough time to use it before this guy grabbed me, which happened way too many times. After killing about 2 zombies, Leon will let go of the chainsaw through different animations, but after a while I would be able to pick it up again. I just had to make sure that I timed it well enough so that no other zombies snatched it before I could. So, after about an hour of this room, I finally beat it without having to spend any health, which was my goal just because I know that Leon will get healed when we play as him next time. Let's dance. Take a nap. Oh my god.
Well, that went well.
I'll be fine.
You will be fine. Now, back as Grace, I geared up by most importantly equipping the stakeout takeout charm for her, which increases knife durability and damage. I did think that maybe I should set a rule that I had to reach the charm's original location first before using it, but I decided not to. Even if I did, it wouldn't change much for this run since the takeout charm is found in the pantry, which on Insanity you don't find the key by killing the chef, meaning that I would get it quite early on this run. It would just take a bit more time. The other 2 charms I will use were for Leon, and they were the Connoisseur charm, which increases gun damage by 10%. I didn't use this for majority of the run due to me misremembering this as a deluxe edition only charm, and I didn't want to give myself an unfair advantage. And the last charm is specifically designed for the Requiem, which is the Power Shades charm. which increases bullet penetration, which, doesn't really do much for this run, but it does give the final bullet in the chamber a 40% damage increase, which is nice. However, I will talk about the game's lack of any number stats really making it hard to know how useful the charms are. Leon's charms I only started to use once I got into Raccoon City, so for now it's only Grace and her knives. After seeing how the sausage gets made for an uncomfortable 10 minutes, yes, I died 3 times here and had to push this cart that was so slow it would have been lapped by a snail before even seeing the finish line. I managed to unlock a shortcut, but unfortunately took a bite in the process. I did, however, not want to see the chef's sausage for a 4th time, so I decided to save and keep going from there. I now had a clear line through the dining hall to the stairs. I did have to jump through a window here and wait for Mr. Late to get to his meal, but it only really takes like 15 seconds or so it wasn't the worst. Speaking of the worst, however, the staircase was blocked by a vegan who did not support the chef's sausage and assumed that me, coming from the dining hall, had eaten a piece. He took reasonable action and tried to make Grace understand what the sausage's POV looked like. Unfortunately, his demonstration was a bit too accurate and Grace promptly became the next meal for this vegan in recovery. After looking worse than tofu in 4th Survivor, I decided to restart Grace's section here in the care center and unlock the kitchen shortcut without being bit by the weirdo who goes to the bathroom with the lights off. Throwing a bottle to distract him, I guess it was too dark that he just felt it was better to stay still and not risk slipping off the toilet. I did luckily manage to run past him, and now I was back to the man on the stairs, but this time I did have a shiv with me. Seeing that Grace was not locally produced cuisine, he decided to pass. He seemed to change his mind, but unfortunately for him, I did not want to run up these stairs ever again. Running into the manager's office, Grace somehow just knew the combination, as if someone had written it down in the document in her head. Unfortunately, I misremembered the location of the red jewel and thought that maybe it had been moved for the insanity difficulty, which it had not. Still having the knife in her possession, it became very useful when this lady asked Grace for directions. After this very close call, the first quartz piece had been acquired.
Shit.
Oh. Now, understanding that the red jewel was indeed in its original location, I had an awkward run-in with this lady who thankfully gave me my knife back. After unlocking the parlor, it became clear that it was locked so that this man could go all out on his new gambling addiction. Luckily for us, he still held his winning lottery ticket. Being the good person that I am, I decided to cash it out for him. After using our new fortune to open up the east wing, the blood collector was now in Grace's hands. After running past the surgery team that came back from their lunch break, a shortcut was now unlocked which could be traversed with minimal complications. Now heading for the manager's office in order to talk about the surgeon who had clearly failed the knife safety class. We were blocked by his 2 friends who were skipping class and clearly holding some mysterious substances. Being the good person that I am, I decided to show the pair what can happen when they consume strange substances found on the street. Unfortunately, it seems that this only made the doctor here even more interested and wanted the name of the supplier. But, showing him the principal's office, he remembered that running in the halls is not allowed, and Grace made her escape. Safe to say, the hall monitor was not pleased with our shenanigans and pursued Grace down the halls, but of course, being the rule follower he is, he made sure not to be running in them. So we should be safe for about an hour or so. Now holding the level 1 keycard, we can now venture further into the west side of the care center, starting with the garage. Finding the vegan's old lunchbox, it seems that the local bully thought that it looked itchy tasty and tried to run us over with his totally legal, not trimmed vehicle. Unfortunately for him, this is America pulling out the Requiem. With one shot in the chamber, we had a standoff. Assuming Grace wouldn't dare touch his car just because his father works at Nintendo, the bully was proven wrong. Showing him the graphical fidelity of the Switch 2 version was simply too much for him and his car to handle. After cooling off the fans, we now had our lunchbox in hand with one less bullet in our possession. After sneaking past the vegan so that he wouldn't try to steal our lunchbox, we found the heart radish that we needed to complete our salad. With the complete meal in hand, Grace moved back to the East Wing in order to apologize to the hall monitor. Unfortunately, on her way there, she found the surgeon and decided to help him after his latest botched surgery. Grace shows him how much worse it could have been, and being the good person that I am, I show this beautiful man here that eating your greens really is life-saving. Unfortunately, he was missing a few vital organs and collapsed shortly after. Putting Grace in his will, we were now giving the level 2 keycard and could now enter the isolation ward. Knowing that there would be a forced enemy encounter here, I assumed that all the zombies that currently were nearby would despawn when I returned with Emily later. After finding the level 3 keycard on the old librarian, it was now time to bring Emily here, which is a lot easier said than done. While holding her, Grace is not only slower, but will instantly die from any attack. But after running around the waiting room for about 2 minutes, all the zombies that I had left alive in the isolation ward had now left, and the way forward was as clear as it could be. By this point, I had unlocked the crafting recipe for the rip knife, which for this run is basically the insanity difficulties version of a standard knife on the other difficulties damage-wise, with the added bonus of giving me more blood to craft with. So this forced combat section wasn't too bad. There were a few close calls, but by constantly jumping over the window and then attacking the zombies as they were on the ground, this wasn't bad at all, and I managed to do it on my first try. With all the noise happening, the new librarian had found Emily and assumed that she was the one running around and stabbing people, so she brought her down to the library's basement. Now, cutting back to Leon, who had been sent to the attic as punishment for redecorating the medical bay, I now had enough points to buy the first damage upgrade for the hatchet, which would come in handy very soon as we approach the second major roadblock of this run. It turns out that the hall monitor had an evil twin that was kept in the attic, and Leon was now sent in to clean up his room. After approximately 2 seconds of trying to help Leon, the evil twin had now completely cleaned everything. So, being the nice person that I am, I decided to thank him with a little trim to his facial hair. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, never doing this again. Bye-bye. Screw you. Oh, jeez. Oh, like seriously. that. Thank God for the autosave. Oh.
But I'm not on the menu.
After 45 minutes of the best customer service one could ask for, the twin decided to thank us by repainting the attic. Now, being back in the care center proper, I cleared out all the enemies one by one using stealth, not only to make the return trip here for Grace as smooth as possible, with all the rooms now being completely safe to loot to their fullest, but also to obtain as many combat points for Leon as I could. In the manager's office, I assumed that the doors would lock behind me as the fight began, but they didn't, surprisingly, so I cleared out all enemies but the one blisterhead that scripted to jump through the window. After about 15 minutes of arguing with management, it was time to rejoin Grace down in the basement. Oh, there we go. Nice. It took some time getting through the basement. I had the strategy down, but I wanted to save as many ink ribbons as possible and try to do as much as I could in one attempt, which did lead to a lot of lost time due to me having to basically replace about 75% of the segment each time I died. It did also unfortunately lead to me getting stuck in the smoothie room and having lost my rip knife due to being grabbed. I only had 2 Molotovs, which was not enough to keep me alive through the whole ordeal. So I reloaded an autosave and redid everything for one last time. I brought Rip Knife with me and a makeshift knife and had 3 Molotovs, and this time I finally made it through. Nice. Let's see, is there anything? No, there really is nothing. Okay, I'm gonna save.
Stop this.
The escape sequence went pretty okay. I did unfortunately die once, but I made sure to keep as much distance as possible on my second attempt. After getting back up to the care center, I ran around through Leon's Massacre and collected antique coins and basically got every single item that would help me in the future. While playing as Leon, I did also decide to save most of the herbs to Grace, which was a pretty big mistake since by the end of the care center I'd have about 2 medinjectors and 14 herbs in my item box. The laboratory was business as usual with me using all the gas canisters on all the zombies. Insanity mode did have an annoying blister head blocking the way, but I managed to avoid it. Unfortunately, the literal last guy decided that I should spend the next 10 minutes trying to get back. Oh my god. There we go, yeah. I don't care. Bye. Oh. Now, playing as Leon again, we come to the first forced gun section of the game. Since Leon doesn't have the Requiem, there was nothing I could do, but I did, however, decide to make sure to kill the 2 zombies that are on the balcony with me by using the hatchet instead of the sniper. So this is the first rule break, unfortunately.
Must be time for the evening service.
No, dang. This way. I mean, maybe. Here we go. Yeah, I'll take this. Not optimal. No. Oh, no.
Hit. Alright.
Take me to church. And here I'm just gonna run. Unless there is something here that is true. Yippee-ki-yay. Oh yeah, right. It doesn't explode. Oh wait, okay, it's just a timer. Oh, seriously? No, I'm reloading. After 20 minutes, it was time for Leon to confess his sins. Unfortunately, this guy in the way really pissed me off. There was literally no way for me to avoid this crawler on the ground, and it was really annoying having to tank the hit, but it wasn't too big a deal. The church fight went smoothly. The big guy's bubbles were easily burst by using all the explosive canisters and melee weapons that zombies dropped around me, so just running back and forth and getting lucky with the takedowns on the blister heads, and we were nearing the end of the first half of the game. Stand up against the wall, please! The last guy, yeah, he doesn't see me. See? Now, this. Yeah, that's good. Seriously? More? Okay, you know what? Or I guess it's just this guy. Oh, you know what? Yeah, this works perfectly. Get over here, please. Scheiße, actually I have to kick him from behind. Where is he? Nice. Ooh, yeah, okay, that was really solid. Now it's boss fight. As long as it's basically the same as the original, I'll be fine. Wait, what? Seriously? She just didn't kill? Yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe I'm still gonna try the Molotovs. Like on her then? Like seriously, a game? I would assume maybe I just threw it too early there, but still.
Please work.
See, like what? Is that is that stunning to you? Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna use the Requiem for the last shot because I feel like it just doesn't work. Otherwise, I should take multiple shots here. That's a shame. Still. So I don't know, maybe throwing 2 Molotovs, but I generally don't think you have the time. Because you can't throw like 2 in a row. Yeah. In killing the girl, I did use 3 Requiem shots, which I now know I only had to use 1. I really tried to throw Molotovs when pulling the slow lever, but I just didn't time it well enough, and while the game does tell you that she doesn't like Molotovs, since she just straight up ignores the first one, I didn't think it would work, so I did unfortunately think that I had to shoot her with the Requiem 2 times to stun her here. After being forced to shoot an infected Emily with Leon's handgun, it was now time to go to Raccoon City with 13 Requiem bullets in the bag. When arriving, I equipped the Power Shade's charm, and here some damage numbers would have been really useful because the game uses the same description for both of the charms, even though one's slightly increased damage is 10% while the other's slightly increased damage is 40%, yet they're still phrased exactly the same. Like, why? I should mention that every now and then the weapons box gets resupplied with 2 green herbs and often 1 Requiem bullet that I would always purchase as soon as they appeared. After stealthing a few walking corpses, it was now time for the spider boss. With 14 shots in hand, I was very confident, but wow, this fight is really rough when you're trying to do most of it in melee. I managed to beat it with 3 bullets left to spare, but knowing what would come next, I really wanted to save more. After about an hour and a half of attempts, I managed to defeat it with 4 bullets left, and I decided to take that. The boss is just way too inconsistent with the hatchet to be able to reliably hit the spider without taking damage yourself, especially since there is just a permanent, hurt box in front of it, so even if it's not attacking you, you'll take damage. Oh. Oh, thank you, game. Now reaching the warehouse where Insanity has decided to add in 2 gun-wielding maniacs and a dozen zombies, I did find a reliable strategy of taking them out, about 2 at a time with my hatchet, and then running back and saving, while making sure not to take any unnecessary damage, knowing full well that I'll need all the healing I can get for the boss fights. I kept doing that until there were only 3 zombies left, plus the gun guys. Now I noticed that I could do a stealth takedown on all the ones on the ground, and after timing the takedowns to not get hit by the bullets, there were now only the guys with the guns left. I did notice in one of my previous attempts that one of them would jump down if I stood in front of him and then took cover. After trying to replicate this for a few attempts, I managed to make it work. Really? Okay. Oh. Repair body armor, and yeah, it's time to see what we can do. Now, being able to freely move around, I unfortunately came to the conclusion that the hanging containers seem to only break when shot at. After seeing some breakable things being inconsistent later in the run, I'm not sure if maybe a double grenade would for some reason destroy the chains, but either way, I only had 1 grenade anyway. And yeah, sure, I keep the grenade, but that is also 2 bullets lost. Come on, that feels more like an oversight. At least, like this one, sure. But this one, come on. Come on. Now reaching the flooded garage, I could completely stealth one room, and for the other, I would use a little trick that I learned in my no healing under 4 hours run. You know what, maybe I can just, like... Yeah, I'm running. Yeah, those boxes would have been nice to use, but no, thank you. Booyah. I mean, I feel like this is like the most ridiculous scene of the game. Like, so this guy gets shot in the head by a magnum, you know? Yeah, sure. These guys, yeah, I feel like a magnum could do that. This guy gets split in half. Could you explain? No, these two guys, they get shot so hard by a pistol that they get... Oh no. Reaching the mortar roof and trying to make it through without wasting any heals was not an easy task. After 30 minutes, I got a decent attempt, and I went along with that. In my way, especially, you know, the gun-wielding ones. Well, I mean, let's see. If I can make it out, like, now, I'll be satisfied. Seriously? Yeah. Now, to enter the gasoline station, there was a ladder blocking my way. It seemed immune to grenades, and therefore I had to use one of my precious 5 remaining Requiem bullets. Now, in my head, the station fight was going to be a lot worse than it ended up being, thanks to the chainsaw that I could use and the surprisingly slow and not very aggressive zombies. I could take them out one at a time without issue, and then I had a chainsaw duel with the mouth of Sauron. Oh my god, why won't you just die? Oh, there we go. Oh. Nice. Yeah. And the fire goes out. Now reaching the collapsed building, I was a bit nervous about having to use some Requiem bullets here, but luckily grenades did just barely work if thrown in a certain angle, and if I used a double grenade for this door. I also had to use a grenade to break the window here. Now in retrospect I could have probably just slashed it with my hatchet, but then I would have most likely not been able to run through all the enemies without taking damage, which I did manage to do here after a few attempts. Ooh. Yeah, this.
Okay, let's find those detonator parts.
Yeah, nice. Climbing up the building stairs wasn't too rough. By stealthing a guy with a concrete weapon and then swinging it, I could run past most enemies, avoid the explosion, and then just hope that the guy who threw the canister wouldn't instantly grab me. And then there was another guy blocking the next set of stairs, and I just had to hope that he wouldn't 360 no-scope me with his weapon. there's like... Yes! After making it through that section, I was surprised as to how easy the other part was. I just ran past all the enemies and it worked on my second try. Okay, I just wanted to check here. Sure. Now reaching the service lift, I was really scared for what the game was going to throw at me. Now I was, however, one shot. But still not wanting to waste any more, since I knew that the game will fully heal Leon for the motorcycle section, I was really determined to make it through here without having to heal. Does that?
Eat this.
There one behind me? No.
Here.
Oh! No, I don't know.
This is my lucky day.
Game, please save. And now we get to the last forced non-Requiem section of the game, being the motorcycle chase. Not much to say here, so let's move on. Bye-bye! The RPD was completely safe. I think there were like 3 zombies in total, which could all be stealth killed. I was scared when I got to this raised ladder, and using grenades didn't seem to work, but I did eventually find the perfect angle to be able to get the ladder to fall down. So after reloading the save and making sure to get it on my first try, I ran around for a bit and made sure to pick up all the resources that would be useful. This flashback sequence obviously doesn't contain any combat, so let's move on. We get chased by the big man, but all I really had to do was make sure I didn't take any unnecessary hits, which was really easy. Now leaving the RPD, I made sure to loot the parking garage while also not waking up the zombies, and then it was time to enter the super tyrant boss fight with 10 Requiem bullets. Yeah. Oof. I'm just zooming on.
Shit. Not good.
Was attacking. There we go. Yeah, that hurts me. I assume just jumping works, or no? Okay. Come on.
Perfect.
Yeah. I got completely wrecked. After fighting him for an hour and a half, I decided to explore more around the area to see if I could find anything to use for the fight. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything useful, but I did find this. So, hey, that did lift my spirits up. After wondering just how long the fight would take, I looked up some damage numbers and I got really scared. I found this Reddit post made by DB Loas, which listed all weapons and enemies and their respective traits. I then started writing in a notepad document and came to the conclusion that I would have to slash the tyrant 400 times in the heart with my hatchet to beat him. I then came up with a plan to use my hatchet on him until I would get the first melee takedown, which after a few attempts I came to the conclusion that it meant that he was about 60% through the fight. I would then use all my 10 Requiem shots while he does this really hard to avoid jump attack and make sure to switch the charms around to get the best damage, now that I know that slight damage increase is not the same as slight damage increase. Same with the grenades and their double variants. The game really doesn't indicate that the doubled grenades deal 10% extra damage compared to 2 regular ones. Anyway, here it is.
Cold rain seeps to my soul. Old wounds I can't forget. Night steals away my sight. Screams I can't shut them out. What if I had reached out to you? I wouldn't have walked alone. Fighting the darkness, holding me, dragging me to the ground, facing the pain that's controlling me. I won't let it keep me down. I'll make it through to the other side. Scarred hands, tired and worn, warmth of a new dawn on my face. I'll never let it go again.
Actually, you don't know, is this it? Oh my god, that was the worst thing ever.
Stop as many times as I have to.
No, please let this be it. Oh my god, yes! It took a lot of learning and patience, but I finally got it. I would like to say that it was all skill, but there were some moments that were just pure luck. Sometimes the cars would just fly in the dumbest possible ways, or his jump attack would just be a coin toss if you managed to avoid it or not, but after so many hours I finally pulled through. Now, after going through the orphanage, I was scared about the Plant 43 tentacles, but I did learn that if you perfect parry them, you'll automatically take them out, which was a nice change of pace for once. Now, feeling very relieved about beating the boss with the most health in the game, I was scared about the next one, since there was no way for me to be able to hit it with my hatchet, but I felt that was a bridge I would have to cross when I came to it. My initial impressions of the Plant 43 fight were worrying. I had 2 Requiem shots and about 7 grenades, but I quickly realized that not only would it be super tough to get all the grenades to connect, but that even if I did hit the boss with all my ranged options, I would not have enough to finish it off. So I got to brainstorming. After looking on YouTube, I could only find people using the same strategy that I already tried using, which would not be working if I needed to attack the boss upwards of 100 times, since I would take damage on each hit. I did after a while find a way to damage its tentacles just after they swung at you. I then realized that the boss attacks upwards of 3 times with them, so as long as you go in for the hit on the second attack, you'll be able to deal damage without taking any. Or so I thought. After fighting the boss for a 2-hour-long attempt, I realized that something is probably wrong. I came to the realization that even though the tentacles shoot up the green gunk, the boss isn't actually taking any damage from this. This made me really nervous since I was out of options, but I didn't give up. I gave the fight a few attempts of me running around just trying to find a way to deal damage without getting hit, and then I found it. I looked back on the clip and came up with a strategy that might just work. Now that doesn't mean it was easy, since it required really good timing to not get hit, but I had found it. After 50 minutes of taking a few hits here and there, the fight was finally over, and I could enter the finale of RE9, the Ark.
Stubborn meat, aren't you? Time to burn you up from the roof.
Boom! Took some time. Let's see, did the game save? No. I mean, yeah, I would say this is
This
a
must be it.
pretty yeah. Hatchet only, you know what? Yeah. Please just save game. Yes. I wasn't too scared. I did, after all, have 2 Requiem bullets and about 7 grenades. My only real worry was about how to get past the elite guards without having to shoot them, because I knew that even on standard difficulty they shredded your health bar. I tried to stealth my way around them, but it seems that they would always see me right before I could make my move. I did, however, learn that the gas canisters can be used to basically become invisible, which I then used to my advantage. Okay. For the next room, I knew that the best strategy would be to throw a grenade to have the liquor kill the first guys. Then for the second wave, I wasn't too sure how I would try to play it out, since the liquor would always be killed by the soldiers. It turns out that running up and attacking them before they recovered from their landings was the way to go. should try to stay around here. Yeah, let's try and attack the guys that jump down. Ooh, we did. The thing is, I don't want the Requiem to hit. What?
Get ahead of myself.
Not necessary. I'll neutralize the target myself.
Hey, Leon, that's cheating!
Leon Kennedy. We finally meet.
Didn't realize.
Oh. Well. Now it was time for the Commander boss fight. I knew this guy would not be too bad, considering this fight is designed with the hatchet in mind, so here it was really just trying to use only one heal for the entire fight.
Not bad for someone's death's door.
Run me through, hold on. Think again, don't know what you're expecting. But you sure got that clue how this will go. Don't you know, no more. And as we look through that horizon, not the cloud, but slowly where it's so true gold. Seems like you took that out of nowhere. All around you, it's not quite what you foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is the back for life. You're done but time to teach you your lost surprise. I'm coming for you. My game's always so fast, so wide. You're done but nature feeding. Catch in time.
Oof, that was nasty, Leon. As soon as I entered Grace's final section, I realized that I really should have given all the herbs possible to Leon. Seeing as I had 14 in my item box, and for this room it was really more about being patient and luring the liquors away with empty bottles, and then being lucky when running back out of the room. Seriously? That's weird. I don't see. when coming back, I knew that for the other liquor room I would just try to run past them all, so I had no issues with spending my acid bottles to make reaching the back room much easier. And then a really clutch Molotov got me through this group of zombies. And that was Grace's section done. I made sure to check that the saves didn't hold any Requiem ammo, but they didn't, which makes sense since she doesn't have it anymore. Anyway, now it was time for the final 2 combat rooms of the game before the final boss. The first one was actually easier on Insanity since the lickers now spawn in increments instead of all roaming the floors below, meaning that I would not aggro all of them at once. As soon as I killed the next spawn of lickers, I would run back and save and repeat. And this room I knew would be tough. I knew that I would have to use the explosive canisters, and on my second try I saw just how useful they would be. If only Leon would throw them correctly, that is. When I first reached the final wave of zombies, my initial plan was to use the melee weapons on the ground, but I quickly realized that would be better if I could beat the initial horde of lickers without using both explosives and then saving one for when all the zombies are grouped up instead. Oh my god, that's gonna suck.
The elevator will arrive shortly.
Hell yeah. I mean, we could, you know, call it here, but that's not the way the cookie crumbles.
Please know that you are my hope.
She is my hope. A blind hope.
Oh, who says? Oh, is that Whisker? No, not Whisker, Spencer. Then who is the guy in the middle? Yeah. Oh crap, no. Well.
And I will see it is brought to fruition.
How many more will have to die for that fishing?
Just taking a look around, sir. For my first attempt, I was pretty satisfied. After dying, I also learned that the game does resupply your weapons box for the death screen for this fight, allowing you to buy 1 more Requiem bullet and 2 more green herbs. After a while, I decided to go with the same plan as I did on the Tyrant, use the hatchet for the first phase and then unload my Requiem onto Victor. I did get into a groove pretty quickly where I would be able to attack him and then parry his next attack if I timed it just right. That didn't make it easy, but it meant that it was theoretically possible to reach the second phase without taking any damage at all. However, after quite a while, it felt like Victor was taking way too many shots to only have 20,000 HP. I turned on infinite ammo to experiment, and he did indeed take way more Requiem shots than he should have, taking about 26 to be defeated, which was the same for the Super Tyrant, who had 25,000 health. So I knew that something was up with his second phase. I assumed that maybe he heals when he stands in the electricity, and I tried looking it up. I found this video by Zack the Ripper TTV, where he tried to beat the game using only the hatchet. And after struggling to beat Victor, he decided to use a health bar mod just to know how far he was getting. After watching his fight, I did confirm that Victor does not heal, but my suspicion then was that Victor becomes invincible when going electric. And I do believe that is what happens during the fight, which is some really bad game design. Like, obviously most players will take the boss standing still and charging up as a hint that they should shoot him with everything they have. But anyway, now I had the strategy and the knowledge of all I needed to know. I did also try first person mode, and while I was able to hit Victor in the head to deal more damage, it also meant that I couldn't react fast enough to parry his attacks, so I reverted back to third person. This fight took so many more attempts than I thought it would. The biggest problem with the boss fight is Victor's second phase, where he not only gets combo attacks that are about 5 attacks long, meaning that if my hatchet is in the red, it is guaranteed to break, but also the most annoying attack of the entire run. I called it his Spider-Man attack, and he does it whenever the player is out of his melee range. So, basically whenever you want to repair your hatchet. It was super inconsistent to avoid, and not only does he attack you twice, meaning that even if Leon's health is in the yellow, you will still be killed, but he also attacks you while you're knocked down, and you don't get any invincibility frames, meaning that the game punishes you for staying in a caution state by instantly killing you, and if you heal up to full, Victor will then attack you while on the ground, bringing you back to caution, if not killing you without being able to do anything about it. After 5 hours of being stuck in the fight, a thought did occur to me that I would be able to purchase the Mortal Edge without breaking any of the challenge's rules, since at this point I would have received it in a normal playthrough. I bought it on the death screen on the fight, and while it did less damage than my hatchet, it not only gave me a backup weapon in case my hatchet broke, but it did also make parrying a lot easier, meaning that Victor's kick attacks would now actually be possible to perfect parry. I generally believe that to parry this with the hatchet, you have to do it on like the literal last frame before it connects. It feels really inconsistent. Anyway, parrying his kick would either give me 3 free hits on him or enough time to repair one of my weapons. So, with this new strategy in hand, it reinvigorated my spirits, and it was now time to end this once and for all.
Follow me, I'm standing on the border of everything. Listen close, can you hear the spirits sing? Lost messages of long ago. Like I knew before, come with me. We'll travel through the trials and tragedy. Rest and play. Can you hear the spirit shout? The secrets in their melodies. Dream, explore the mysteries. Breathe, a new life is revealed to me. Once again, we'll start our story anew. Don't be afraid, I'll be with you. I'm here, reaching far across these new frontiers. With my life, my faith is filled. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the cold time. Always a new horizon. Standing here, the way ahead's becoming clear. All across these new frontiers. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the cold time. Always a new horizons.
While in the middle of a very promising attempt, I did decide to use a double grenade just to see if I could even reach the next stage of a fight, and I luckily did manage to do so. However, I did understand that with only 7 grenades in hand and no bullets to speak of, this wouldn't work. I managed to burst all of the first bubbles, but had nothing left for the second set, but I hadn't given up yet. Something that I didn't know about Victor's fight until doing this run is that he has an attack where he pulls out his rocket launcher, and if you damage him enough, he will drop it for you. So, with fire in my eyes, it was time to finally end my suffering once and for all.
The skies ahead are vast and clear. I hold my breath, step up a gear, feel the wind, smell the air.
this time. You ain't getting back up.
Yeah, I just need my screenshots, you know. Oh. So, the game says it took 10 hours and 6 minutes. Yeah.
Resident Evil.
30 saves, 50 hours. Oh my god. It was a lot of fun, but it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in a video game. Definitely like the hardest challenge, you know, self-inflicted difficulty in a way. Well, yeah, I guess I'll just let future me finish. And thank you. I mean, Leon did use the Requiem in the cutscene, so is it possible to beat Resident Evil 9 using only the Requiem on Insanity? No. But is it possible if you allow the use of tools and ignore the 3 forced shooting sections? Then, yes. In the care center, I missed 2 locked drawers, which both contain the rare metal, allowing Grace to craft up to 4 extra Requiem bullets. Now, also knowing that you can indeed use 2 Molotovs to stun the girl down in her boss encounter, that would mean that we have 6 more bullets at our disposal. I know also that there is at least 1 extra bullet up the ladder here, which I didn't manage to blow up, but considering I did manage to destroy the ladder in the RPD, maybe there was a way. Knowing that I managed to beat the first phase of Nemesis Victor without using any Requiem bullets, then yes, I will say with confidence that it is possible to beat Resident Evil 9 on Insanity, but the only available gun being the Requiem. Now, did I manage to do that? I mean, isn't a rocket just a big grenade? RPG does stand for rocket-propelled grenade after all. But I'll leave that one up to you. I will also leave a link in the description showing an edited version of my full playthrough. Basically not being the full 50-hour run, but being all the successful attempts cut together into one playthrough. Just so you know. I love this game. It has cemented itself as my favorite Resident Evil game. I understand if you dislike the second half, but unlike Village, I felt like it at least served purpose, which the character assassination of Chris Redfield did not. For me, this game has just left me so excited for the future of one of my favorite game franchises ever. This run took over 50 hours, and while I did understandably not like everything that the game threw in my way, like the charms having the exact same description even though the damage values changed from 10 to 40%, or Victor's super annoying Spider-Man cosplay, it did give me the chance to appreciate so many little things that I missed my first time around. But what do you think? Please let me know in comments down below, and thank you so much for watching.